Brascho, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about my digital citizenship lesson that I've created. As a classroom teacher, it is my responsibility to teach my students how they can become digital citizens. Well, what is this? Digital citizenship is teaching students how to balance the digital world and the real world in a way that they can learn safely, responsibly, and wisely. So how do we teach this to our students? After carefully reading and reflecting upon the 9 elements of digital citizenship, I've chosen to develop an original unit lesson plan to fully engage my students in an understanding of Area 3, digital communication, the electronic exchange of information. Of the 9 elements of digital citizenship, this unit focuses on Area 3, digital communication. However, throughout this unit lesson plan, Area 1, which was digital access, and Area 4, digital literacy, will also be taught as substandards to Area 3. My goal as a classroom teacher is to daily meet the needs of all my students in whatever way possible. I believe that cross-curricular teaching and the incorporation of digital devices can assist in meeting the needs of all my students. My students, throughout this lesson, they'll be able to use Skype through my own personal profile so I can continue to monitor their digital communication in a safe manner. We're going to view our Skype via our classroom smartboard and other devices. Students will use this database to communicate with individuals living all around the world. They will also use Google Classroom to communicate with myself as well as their classmates and to complete web-based assignments and assessments. I would like to invite you to join our Google Classroom or view it as an administrator. Throughout this assignment, my students have had the opportunity to use Skype, iPads, WebQuest, Capstone Interactive Library ebooks, digital recording devices, and the Kahoot interactive learning game. Google Classroom was able to be used as a way to complete assignments and discussions. Finally, we also used Google Forms to create a cumulative assessment, which is graded using Flubrew. It's awesome. The Around the World unit lesson plan, which we've named our unit, I've chosen to create is an example of content integrated lessons utilizing technology as the foundation for all other learning objectives. During the course of this unit, we were able to use iPads to complete the activities outlined in the lesson plan with immense success. Students also used their weekly allotted computer lab time to complete assignments via Google Classroom. Our school is very blessed with 25 iPads to share among all students here at our school at Coosa Valley. Digital literacy is a necessary component in the classroom because without it, learning time is diminished because the students do not have regular access to digital tools, and training them to use these devices can take a lot of time. So, how can I ensure that my students and our school measures up to Area 1, digital access? I need to make sure that my students have equal opportunities as far as technology is concerned and that they have access to the digital tools necessary to accomplish full digital participation. Accomplishing this task is very important. Not doing so can pose an alarming problem because it is imperative that we prepare our students to compete in a global economy, because they will not just be competing with their peers for jobs, but the entire world. Today, I'm educating and training students for jobs that have not yet even been created. This is important to keep in mind when teaching digital citizenship to all students. Jobs are already being shipped overseas because currently we lack the skills necessary to fulfill all of these STEM positions. The question we need to ask ourselves as educators, these are some of the questions we need to ask. How do we educate children to take the place in the economy of the 21st century? How do we prepare our students for jobs that don't even exist yet? How do we get students excited about industries that have not been invented yet? Finally, how do we adequately prepare students for what is next? The answer is providing full electronic participation in society to prepare our students to compete in this global economy. In this lesson, students were able to research information, collaborate with their peers, and published what they learned, all through the use of technology. Without access to these tools, we are not preparing our students to be active members of our global society. Technology needs to be integrated throughout all content subjects, which will allow learning at all levels. With the right programs in place, students will gain a general technological awareness through word processing, the use of internet for research, keyboarding, multimedia production, electronic presentations, desktop publishing, and the use of databases and spreadsheets. The possibilities are endless. These are some examples of how digital access for all students can be used. Digital illustrations, interactive presentations, avatars, audio and video clips, tutorial videos. All of these skills will be needed for jobs that don't exist yet. Something that is also so important is my students' online safety. The number one priority in introducing technology is student safety. Children should learn digital citizenship at an early age and how to protect themselves and others when online. Students should be taught how to protect their private information, how to treat others with respect online just as they would in person, the distinction between friends in a world driven by social media, the ramifications of social media at an age-appropriate level. The technological skills learned and utilized by my students over the past few weeks have given them a beginning foundation to build upon. I believe that with the right tools and training, we can accomplish the goals that we have set for our students to achieve digital citizenship for every child in our school system. As part of my responsibility of educating these 21st century learners, I must make sure to teach to all learning styles. Access to digital devices will allow students to communicate in a plethora of ways. Verbal learners can listen, respond to, and create oral recordings. Kinesthetic learners can interact with and create a presentation or a web-based learning activity. Visual learners can view visually stimulating photographs, presentations, and web pages. All students can actively participate with interactive learning sites and teacher-prepared presentations. This is what's key: active engagement. Students can create digital documents, respond to engaging questions, and record their thinking. Comments posted within our Google Classroom will serve as documentation of learning, and it will provide me, the teacher, with a database to display my students' growth. Then, as the teacher, I can reflect upon the questions that my students post and respond with accurate and engaging feedback. Active participation is essential to learning, and I assure you that I have been so blessed to witness this engagement take place in my classroom from all my students during the integration of this unit plan. This is Ms. Brascho's class, and today we are continuing our research using interactive technology with Blackboard Classroom and our iPads and Capstone Interactive Library, and we are researching different countries. Yesterday we researched a plethora of countries and students got to choose theirs. Today we're researching only Australia, and you can probably hear it's going on in the background. Plug it in. Okay, and that's the sound that you hear is one of the interactive books that we're about to start reading. And today we are specifically researching Australia because tomorrow we are going to Skype video conference with one of our experts who's currently living in Australia. And today we're looking up questions specifically about that country and continent to ask the citizen of Australia to research. the students are going to use, along with their iPads and the Capstone interactive textbooks, they're going to work with their reading visual tools. So this is a way that we are doing cross-curriculum with our social studies unit, technology, along with reading comprehension. This is Mason, and he's going to talk to you about his visual tool that he made, and I'll hold it up close.
This is the author's purpose target. It is to give information. It shows what informational facts there are in the story. Right here, it shows what the book is about. It's about information. This is the title, Australia, by Xavier Nez. In the circle right here is where all the facts go about Australia. And it's called Author's Purpose Target because it looks like a target, and this is the bullseye where it shows what the book is about. I would write a paragraph. My topic sentence would be Australia, the title, what it's to give information, and who the author is. The body would be the facts that are in this circle. Then my closing sentence would be those are facts about Australia that I learned from the story.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Mason, and I'm 9, and I'm in the 3rd grade.
Hi, Mason.
I'm
Somebody told us to say y'all, but we don't want to do that.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, I'm Brett Sisman, and I'm 9 years old.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'm a little cotton top.
A little
His blonde
What was
hair.
that?
he said I'm a little cotton top.
Oh,
From his blonde hair, I think.
what? That's so sweet.
Okay, should I just do a little introduction?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, guys, we are so excited that we are to have, and you want to introduce?
This is Miss Catherine. She is my niece, and she lives in
And
Australia.
they have the same last name, Miss
Yes.
Catherine Black, and
Yes.
this is her Miss Black's niece. And she is in Australia right now. And we're studying the continents of the world and different countries all around the world. And this is so great to have that resource of a family member in another country. We were thrilled to find that out. So we're so thankful for you Skyping us. And I know that we have been doing a little bit of research on Australia, and Miss Black was able to show them some pictures. And we specifically studied Australia, so I hope that they have some good questions about your country that we can hopefully fit in and ask at the end.
I hope so too.
Yes, but I was wondering if you could just maybe give us a little introduction about some fun things,
Yeah.
maybe about your country, and tell us what time it is and how it's a different season. And
Yeah.
we read somewhere that it's Christmas in the summertime, and so we're all
Yeah.
real curious about that. So
Yeah.
I'm going to turn
It's
it over.
very different here.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn it over to you if you don't mind talking to us for a little bit, and then maybe we'll have some time for questions.
Yeah,
At
that's
the end.
fine.
Okay.
So right now it's quite early in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, actually. So my auntie had to wake me up. Skype you people, so that I didn't miss the call. Right now it's sunny here, and so it's fairly hot in Australia in the summertime. Probably a smidge hotter than what Alabama is at this time of year. I know that you guys you still have quite cool weather here at the moment. So our Christmas time here is spent usually in very, very hot weather. So we still do turkey. We have turkey at Christmas. As a matter of fact, this Christmas I cooked 2 turkeys. What else can I have? Oh, and also, so I suppose you're learning all about Australia. You know that we are an island continent.
Awesome.
We're just about the biggest one I think there is. So we have things here, animals and plants that nobody else on the earth has. We're very lucky here, very lucky. Of course, you know all about koala bears, although they're not really a bear, and kangaroos. We have birds, the most beautiful bird that about Australia. We're pretty much the same as you. We all speak English. Kangaroos don't usually hop down the street, so you can cross that off the list. What else? We watch pretty much the same stuff on TV that you do. We get all of the same TV shows. Our sport is a little bit different. So we play cricket. We play a lot of cricket.
Some of it, that was one of that was one of our questions that one of us had was about the sports. So you wanna do that cricket?
Yeah, so we have our own football code, rugby league, rugby union, and then we have AFL. And so we don't typically watch American football. Our football is a little bit different. And I suppose to state by state, we also have states in Australia. I live in New South Wales, in Sydney. And so rugby league is very popular here. And our football players don't wear any helmets. They just run around and bump into each other.
Oh my goodness.
So that's one huge big difference. Yeah, like I said, cricket is big here. We have soccer, we have most sports. My son does ice skating sport at school, and he loves ice skating. And what else? My son played basketball. My eldest son played basketball last year at his school. They're just, as a matter of fact, I have two sons, Jonathan and Jordan, and they are, they've only just started back at school here. See, our school system is a little bit different in that we have 6 weeks off over Christmas, when it's usually the hottest part of the year, and that's a super long holiday for our kids, the longest. And then throughout the year they have a 2-week break. So our kids here go to school nearly all through the year. So we don't get, I know that you guys get a super long break. And no super long break?
No.
Well, you need to protest.
Yeah.
What else can I tell you? Did I mention that I live in Sydney?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen pictures of Sydney, our beautiful harbour.
In the Opera House.
And the Opera House.
We're
It is
excited
as
about that.
pretty as it looks in the pictures. It is beautiful. We're very lucky.
So my sister actually lived in England. She lived in London for the past 3 years, and
I've been there.
okay, and so a lot of them is Australia related with the UK at all, or how does that work? Could you maybe explain that to us?
Yeah, sure. So initially we were a penal colony, and so by that I mean when England started to have a lot of problems, so they had convicts, prisoners, if you will, and their prisons were full. And when Captain Cook started exploring this area, he founded Australia for England. So you guys obviously know all about the history of America and Christopher Columbus and all of that. So similar sort of thing here, but we had Captain Cook, and he settled Australia for England. And when the prisons in England got full, they decided that they should start sending prisoners here to Australia. And so we were a penal colony initially. They sent us a whole heap of prisoners, and that's how Australia was started. Started here in the harbour, at Sydney Harbour, and they started the very first settlement. And shortly thereafter, they started actually sending first settlers, that were given free grants of land and some animals to start farming. And that's how Australia began.
Awesome. Okay. If it's okay with you, if I just can call on some students and they'll stand up and maybe ask you a question. And I'm going to call on the quietest friends right now that I know that have made a good question. Okay, Reagan, you're right up there in the front, so we're going to have Reagan stand up. Okay?
Hi, Reagan.
What is the weather like there?
What's the weather like? A little.
Crazy hot usually. It's unusually cool at the moment. So it's usually February is blisteringly hot, and so we measure our temperature in degrees Celsius, which is a little different. I know that you guys measure it in Fahrenheit, and so I'm not quite sure, but usually at this time of year it's not unusual to get to 40 degrees Celsius, which is well over 100.
Do you wear
It's hot.
uniforms to school? They wear uniforms?
Yes, we do. Yes, all schools. It doesn't matter if it's private or public.
y'all think about that?
No.
Yeah.
Well, there's a very good reason why
Listen.
we wear uniform here. It's primarily for safety. So all of the children look exactly the same. And that makes you easily identifiable to the teachers. So if there is anybody in the school that shouldn't be there, they are going to stand out because they're not wearing a uniform.
That's a good reason. Yeah.
And also, my little girl looks exactly the same as every other little girl in her school. So it doesn't really matter if you have a fancy sweater or fancy shoes. Everybody wears the same thing.
I like that.
Everyone's the same.
I like it.
Miss
That's
Brascho.
neat. Okay.
No, not sold.
Bailey, sit down. Okay, Brett's gonna ask. This is Brett. He's gonna ask a question now.
But how does rugby work? How does it go?
I'm perhaps not the best person to answer that question. You might want to ask Miss Black, because her husband was very much a fan of rugby league.
We might ask him later, but how about cricket? How about cricket?
How does cricket work?
Cricket?
How do you play cricket?
How many players are on a cricket team?
How do you play cricket?
Okay, so there's 11 players on a cricket team. And so they take turns, one team on the bat, one team on the field. And it's the idea that the batting team bats as many runs as they can. They have to run between wickets. So those little sticks sticking up in the ground are called wickets. And they have to get as many runs as they can. And it's the opposition's goal to try and catch them, to catch the ball, to run them out against the wickets. So you really need to watch it.
Maybe we
It's
can watch a
super fun.
video. That'll help us understand if we watch a video.
Oh, it's great fun.
Okay. Okay, this is Ella, and she's gonna ask a question next.
Hi, Ella.
Wait, what kind of animals are there?
Oh, wow. As I said before, we're very lucky here. We've got animals here that nobody else on earth has. So you know about koalas and kangaroos. We have beautiful birds, rainbow lorikeets, kookaburras, platypuses. We have so many cool animals. We live in Sydney, but we live on the outskirts of Sydney, very close to the Blue Mountains. So it's not unusual for us to see emus and kangaroos in the local area. As a matter of fact, there's a new housing estate being built just near to us, and it's full of emus and kangaroos.
Okay. Does that answer your question? Cool. That would be neat to see a kangaroo hopping around. Okay, this is Mason. And he's gonna ask.
Hello.
What is school like in Australia?
I'd have to say it's pretty much the same as the school in America. We learn the exact same things. We have teachers the same as you. Our grade system is pretty similar.
Do you
The only difference is we all have to wear uniforms.
do you call it like first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, or do you call it something else? Okay, because I know in the UK they call it grade 1, grade 2, and then they call it a little bit different. Than
You know, we have primary school, which is kindergarten through grade 6, and you can either call it year 6 or grade 6, and then we go on to secondary education, which is what we call high school. That goes from 7 through to year 12. And now my eldest son at the moment is in year 11, which means he's starting his HSC, which is a super big test at the end of school year, and it's going to be very hard for him. And I have my little girl, Leonie, who just started kindergarten this week, brand new.
Do y'all do like go math and stuff like that?
Do we do math?
Go math.
it's our math series. It's what it's called.
I don't think they have Go Math.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I don't think they
I
have
can't
Go Math.
answer that. They might do. I don't know.
Multiplication?
Do you do multiplication? Does your little girl do multiplication?
I don't think so. Not just yet. She's just started in kindergarten her very
Yeah.
first week, so I hope they're not giving her anything that hard.
Okay, this is
not that hard.
alright. This is Faith.
Hi, Faye.
What do you do for fun then?
Well, I suppose we do the same things as you. We play sport. We go to the beach. We're lucky. We've got oodles of beaches in Sydney. Beautiful beaches. What else? I suppose we go to the movies. We go to the shopping centre. I suppose you guys call it the mall. We have malls. Just the same as you guys. Go to
Okay.
the park and have a barbecue. Did that answer your question, honey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bailey. All right, and Bailey's gonna ask a question, okay? But everybody right here, stay at the bottom.
What kind of food do you eat?
What kind of foods?
What kind of food do you eat?
Like,
Well, pretty much the same sort of food as you guys. I went to Costco just the other day, and I bought bacon, and I bought butter, and I bought pretzels. Just the same as, exactly the same as what you guys eat. Because we have Costco now, so we do that.
Okay, and this is Riley. She has a question.
Hi, Ryan.
Why does the opera house change colors?
Well, it has a special tile. It's actually the tiles on the roof that make it change colour. And I think, and this is an educated guess, it has something to do with the position of the sun. As the sun goes down, it changes colour naturally.
okay.
That's actually a really good question.
This is Lily.
Hi, Lily.
What do you do for New Year's?
Well, I'm sure you've
Layla.
seen on the news, we have a huge fireworks celebration in Coosa. And it gets televised all around the world, the celebration here. And we spend quite a bit of money on fireworks every year.
Neat. That's awesome. And isn't Australia the first place to ring in the new year all around the world?
I think so.
Okay. Okay.
We might be.
Cool. I remember.
On that, we might be.
So it's almost the new year for you guys, half a day probably before it is for us, right?
Yes, I know that when I speak to Miss Black on Christmas Eve there in Alabama, we're having Christmas. Our
Awesome.
Christmas is nearly over.
Okay. And this is Olivia. She has a question.
Hi, Olivia.
What kind of plants do you have in
What?
Australia?
Well, we have noodles of gum trees. Do you guys
Gum
have
trees. I don't think any of us have ever heard of a gum tree.
I've heard of
Gum trees. As a matter of fact, we have songs written about gum trees and our plants, their animals.
She has said she has songs about
Yeah,
gum
we
trees.
have, I have a plant in the front of my house that was only recently discovered and has been around since the dinosaurs.
Okay, this is Lydia, and she has a question.
Hi, Lydia. Ah. Well, my husband likes country music. And my kids, my two boys, they like rap music. And so, yeah, we listen to everything. Pretty much the same music you do. We listen to Taylor Swift. My little girl loves Taylor Swift.
Oh, we love Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I thought so.
This is Billy.
Hi, Billy.
What kind of field trips do go on?
What kind of field trips maybe has your daughter went with her school?
Okay, so we call field trips excursions. And so she's going to go to a farm for her very first excursion. I've already received the permission slip from school. And that's quite a common thing in kindergarten. They start the kids off and they take them to Carmel Hill Farm. And they get to see the baby farm animals. That's going to be her first one. And I know my son Jordan last year went to the Korean Centre in the city because he took Korean as a language. And they took them into the Korean Cultural Centre. And they got to taste Korean food. They got to make a paper fan and decorate it with some Korean letters. And obviously, because he's learning the language, he has to learn how to write the characters as well with the language. And,
Now, Lydia, come back to the office.
Oh, they went to the War Memorial in Hyde Park as well. Yeah, so we call them excursions.
Awesome. All right, this is Kiera. She has questions.
Hello.
Okay.
My favourite animal, I really like the safari. bird. So you need to get Miss Black to show you just what a kookaburra looks like. And you need to YouTube what a kookaburra sounds like because they laugh. They laugh at you.
Isn't that in the song Kookaburras?
Yeah, and a gum tree.
In the old gum tree?
Yeah, there
I
you
was gonna
go.
say, isn't that in the song the Kookaburra sits in the old gum
Yes,
tree?
ma'am, it sure
Okay,
is.
yeah, I've heard that. Cute. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything maybe that you thought that we didn't cover, Miss Black, that we could ask?
Somebody's
okay.
talking. I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does anybody have one last question that we didn't? Right, Emily, come and see. All right, everybody stay in your spots. Lily, sit down. All right, Emily, we're going to let her close it out.
Okay, hi, Emily.
How do you cook food?
She's a very good cook.
On a cooker. I'd assume this is the same I have pretty much. I'm going to have the same cooker that you have at your house. Maybe with a little less deep frying. We barbecue. It's so mild. We don't have snow. We don't get super cold weather. So we can barbecue outside all year round. So my husband's favourite thing to do is barbecue steak.
I love
So
Okay, can everybody wave bye and tell Miss Black? I just wanted to tell you thank you so much. We so enjoyed this. I know that was a big deal. I don't know if they really realize how far away you are yet, but I know it'll sink in. So I really appreciate you sitting in with us.
Okay.
Thank you. Good morning, guys. This is Miss Brascho's class, and I am about to give some directions for some of our implementation plan with our technology lesson, incorporating it with digital communication and digital literacy. So, boys and girls, what I want you to do today is, now that we're on our Google Classroom, our assignment has been announced and assigned. So I want you to look up at the smartboard and make sure that your iPad matches the smartboard. Now I want you to press Miss Brascho's 3rd grade class. When you're there, put your thumb in the air. Now, I want you to scroll down to where you see Africa. Your screen should now look like mine. We have just finished getting a presentation from our Africa expert, Miss Miner. So now that we have some background knowledge on Africa, we are going to research using the links that have been put into your Google Classroom and the directions. And you will have the directions right in front of you on your own iPad, and you will use them to research the country's flag, to write facts, and to turn those facts into a paragraph using text evidence. So let's read the directions. I want you to follow along as I read aloud. Hi class, today we are continuing our virtual field trip around the world. The first 5 countries we have chosen as a class. The country we are visiting today is South Africa. So here are your directions. Click on the link provided for Global Trek and book your trip. You will enter your beginning and ending traveling dates. Choose South Africa from the drop-down menu. So does this remind you of how we did China yesterday? Thumbs up. Once you arrive in your country, you're going to be provided with a suggested itinerary. The itinerary provides links and information about country and people. I want you to research all the links provided and make notes in the question and answer section. After you complete your research, I want you to write the notes in your travel journal by clicking on your travel journal country. There is a section for My Notes, which include a space to write notes for background, guided tours, and meet the people. Then you're going to need to sign out. Then you will begin your number 2. Number 2 is click on the link for Science Kids, and you're going to use the graphic organizer provided that you have on your desk with your passports to write the 6 facts about Africa, locate and label the capital of South Africa on the map, draw and color the country's flag, then use the facts to write your paragraph. And you'll notice right below this are your destination, your global trek, and your fun South Africa facts for kids. Also, if you happen to be at home or if you've lost your graphic organizer, we've provided the document here that you can click on, and I'm just going to do it for example. and it's a PDF that we made in Word. So this is what your graphic organizer looks like that you have printed out on your desk. So if you need to, you can go back here and print it out. If you're at home and you wanted to do some additional research, you could do that as well. So let's go back to our classroom. I want everybody to go ahead and begin, and we're going to begin with fun South Africa facts for kids. So we're going to take our pointer and we're going to press this second one. When you press that, give me a thumbs up. Country facts. So here we see our flag. And notice really carefully, this is red, this is blue, green, black, yellow, and white. So that's a lot of intricate detail. And then here are our facts. I wonder if some of them might remind us of what we listened to our guest speaker. And then after you have added your facts in, I want you to write your paragraph using those facts. Now, who can tell me, what do we need to have if we quote a fact? What do we need to use? Okay, we can use a phrase like Bailey said, according to the text. What else should we put it in? Quotation marks. Let's show them quotation marks, because that's not our words, it's what we found. So that's how we're citing our evidence. Does anybody have any questions? If you need to go back and read the directions, what you'll do is in your second tab, you'll click on Miss Brascho's third grade and you'll go back up and read the directions. If you have any questions, you can add a comment. Where it says comment, you can add your question and post it, and I'll check it back at the end of the day and answer any of the questions that you have. Hey guys, it's Miss Brascho's class, and we are so excited that right now we are doing a Kahoot video. It's an interactive review game site where I have entered some of our test questions that are going to be on our cumulative assignment for tomorrow. And so now we're playing this game as a review. And right now you can see we have 18 players in, 19 players, so it's loading. So it's going to let me know when all of my players are in and ready to go. The students have their iPads and they're entering in a game pin that's unique to the assessment that I created for this interactive test review, basically, that we're doing. And it's in a game fashion form, but what is so awesome about this is at the end of it, it will import all of my answers, my students' responses, into an Excel document where I can analyze their responses and see what I might need to go back and reteach. So are you guys excited to get started?
Yeah!
If you're ready. All right, we're going to press start now. And there's our class on the screen. This is our Around the World cumulative assignment. So question number 1 says, what country has the 3 capital cities of Cape Town, Bolivia, and Petrofolia? Ooh, those are
Pretoria.
hard. Yeah. Okay. So the students can read on the screen, but their specific interactive device only has the colors for the options. So the colors are in the same order every time, and it's counting us down, and I have all my answers, my 26 students. Awesome. So I can look at my data and I can see that 17 students got it correct, and then 2 didn't, and then 3 or need to go back. And so we might go back and review this before our test. Okay, ready for the next question?
Yes.
All right, here's our scoreboard. Riley's in first place. All right, question number 2. Beijing is the capital city of what country? Get ready for the options. All right, option number 1 says Mexico, China, or England. Make your selection now.
Yes.
Okay, woo! 20 people got it right. Be loud. Okay, let's go to the next question. All right, Brett's our leaderboard scoreboard. What is the most populated country in the United Kingdom? All right, here's our options. Africa, Scotland, or England? Woo! Only 5 seconds and already 18, 19 answers we have in. 20. Almost there. Counting down. 18 more seconds. Make your selection. Yay! Awesome. So what was the answer? England. Okay, let's see our next question. Brett, you're still in the sport. You're still a leaderboard. What country is sometimes known as the island continent? Island continent. All right, Asia, North America, or Australia? Selection. Oh, we already have one. Awesome. All right, so what was the answer? What was the answer?
No.
Woo, you can't be beat. All right, what is the capital city of Germany? And here's a hint. It's also the largest city. London, Kenya, or Berlin? So on the students' interactive, their individual device, it's going to give them immediate feedback of their response. If they got it correct, it'll tell them correct. So what was the answer? Berlin. Okay. What is the capital of England? All right, it's loading, loading, loading. Wales, London, or Sydney? So this is really going to help us for our test tomorrow, guys. These are our questions that you're going to take from your test in Google Classroom. All right, a couple more answers. We have 19 of them in, 20 are submitted. Ready? So what was our answer? Alright, China belongs to what continent? Ready for your options are loaded. Asia, Europe, or Africa?
It's gonna be
Ahmad said he's correct because he's from this continent. See, he's right. Okay. What's our answer? What is the name for Germany in the German?
I got this
Dutchland, Dutchland, or Germany? We have all our answers in, and our time's not even up yet.
Oh my god. Yes, Dutch. Yeah, it is Dutch.
So what's the animal?
Yes.
Including a koala, a kangaroo.
Oh my gosh, that's easy.
Platypus.
I accidentally touched it.
What country has the largest population in the world with over 1.3 billion people? So it's one that you did a web quest for. China, England, or the United States? Population. Think about it. Make your selection now. Awesome. Okay. A desert area known as the Outback covers much of the land of what country? Asia, Africa, or Australia? What's on the screen? Okay, last question. Make it count. On which continent is Germany located? On which continent is Germany located? Africa, Europe, or Asia? Think about what you did your web quest on.
Where do you see your classroom?
What continent is Germany located? We're going to check our winner, and we're going to congratulate them. Let's see who it was. Brett. Brett, do you want to come stand by our winner board? Come say where your name is. How many cahoots did he get? 12,550. Awesome job. We're going to rate in this quiz. We're going to rate this quiz and give it some feedback so I'll know what I can do better next time for you guys. So let's rate it. Did you learn something? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Do you recommend it to a friend? And how are you feeling about it? And right now, it says that we scored this out of 5 stars out of 4.7. So I think that's pretty good. What do you think? All right, and here's our final results. And we can download our results and save them in my Google Drive if I would like to. And we can play it again or play it again.